Happy Wednesday. Glad you are here. We are almost halfway through this week, and we are close to being halfway through the month of April. It's almost tax day, so if you haven't finished those, you need to get on them. A lot going on. And one of the things that's going on right now is we are slowly kind of waking up from this COVID quarantine that we've been in for the past year. And it has been an interesting and weird year. Not all of it bad. Now, of course, the COVID virus was bad, and like you, I have lost several friends to the virus. Not being able to do things that I normally do, like even see my own grandchildren and that kind of thing. A lot of us have made decisions and choices about where we go and what we do and that kind of stuff. That part hasn't been fun. But I think a lot of us have learned some things. One, a lot of what we were doing, we don't need to be doing at all. We were busy, but not necessarily fulfilled. And so a lot of the things that we dropped out of our calendar for the last year, we probably don't need to add back. We have a lot of stuff that we don't need, don't use, from the clothes we wear to the amount of electronic gadgets we have. A lot of this stuff kept us from having the quality of life that we want rather than enhance it. But now we're kind of getting past all of that. And the first thing I want you to do is, as we're walking through this, is one, make sure you hang on to those good lessons you learned. One, it was good not to have every night of your week busy. It was good. Well, it was good for me. Jeannie may have a different opinion, but I loved the time that I had with Jeannie. And the relaxing time that we had, because we weren't going anywhere, weren't expecting anybody. We could just be together. For me, that has been fabulous. And so I want to be sure coming out of this is that I keep that kind of intentional space for Jeannie and I just to be together. That's one of the good lessons that I learned that I want to be sure that I hold on to. I learned or relearned how important a phone call is. For years we went to text and email and all this other stuff. You miss a lot in an email. I can't hear your voice. I can't hear if you're forcing it or if you're trying to blow something off by a bad use of humor. I can't hear that in an email. I can hear it when I talk to you. We found out that, the old phone works really well, especially when you need to stay in touch with your friends or some people who are going through a hard time. A phone call was almost a gift of God. I want to remember that coming out of here. Now, there are some other things that I've learned and that we want to kind of use as we move out of this. One, I've had both of my shots now, and I feel like a little puppy. I need a little chain that has, I've been vaccinated, so that when people see me, they know I've had my shots. So, but we've learned how important it is to be together. Some of the things that we learned during this pandemic was, one, how hard it was to be alone. A lot of people did not do well when they were cut off from family, when they were cut off from their routines of seeing their friends at routine intervals. And we need to reconnect. Now, because of COVID and coming out of post-COVID, that reconnection needs to be intentional. You need to make sure that you have a list of those 4 or 5 people that you really need to connect with, that you really want to connect with, and you make sure you connect with them. Phone call, meeting for lunch, walking in the park, going to some place where the two of you enjoy being together, just catching up and reconnecting with that relationship. We found out we need each other. And we were all assuming that we were all Americans and we were Lone Rangers and we could live our life the way we want to. And we found out that's not true. We really need each other. So don't make the assumption that life is going to gradually get back to normal. What will happen is, if you're not intentional, is that it will fall to its lowest common denominator. It will default to the easiest thing. And we know that's not always the best thing. The Bible tells us if you want to have friends, you have to be a friend. And this is a good time to practice being an intentional friend. So here's the lesson for today. 1, I want you to write down those things that you learned in quarantine that you want to hang on to. 2, I want you to grieve what you need to grieve. Yes, there was some loss this past year, and we need to grieve it. 3, I want you to put together a plan. Here's how I'm going to re-enter my life now that the quarantine is over and we're getting into post-COVID. Here's the intentional way I'm going to do the things I need to do. Here are the people I'm going to connect with. Don't make assumptions. We know what assumptions do, don't we? So if you want to be a friend, if you want to have friends, you have to be a friend. That's what the Bible tells us. So I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to get started on that list. It's time to get back to our lives.